It's the all-wheel drive event at Lithia Ford of Boise. From hunting trips to ski trips to trips to Grandma's house. Nobody does AWD like LFB, Lithia Ford of Boise, where Ford begins in Idaho.
Eat Lux your way with the Lux Cravings boxes from Taco Bell. There's the classic $5 box, the indulgent $7 box, and a whole new obsession in the $9 box, the flaming hot grilled cheese burrito. Try the Lux Cravings boxes at Taco Bell today.
Find your sun with Sun Cruiser Vodka Iced Tea. Made with real iced tea and real vodka. Cold, refreshing, and made for moments like these all year long. Let the good times cruise with Sun Cruiser.
As sports fans, we may cheer for different teams, but there's one thing that we can all agree on. We want the game to be big. And with 3 levels, 30 cabanas, a 143-foot screen, 6 clean pools, and endless cold drinks, it doesn't get any bigger or any better than Stadium Swim in Las Vegas. All sports, all seasons. It's more than a pool deck. Stadium Swim. It's the only thing like it in the world.
The final buzzer is sounded on another night of Mountain West basketball, and it's time to break down the action with Tom Moser on another night in the Mountain West, presented by Circus Sports. Headed to Las Vegas for the Mountain West tournament in March? Make sure to stay at Circa Las Vegas and watch all the action at Stadium Swim, where the sports are on 365 days a year. Another night in the Mountain West has interviews, analysis, opinions after the final Mountain West basketball game of the day wraps up. All BNN broadcasts come from the Sun Cruiser Studios. Sunny days call for Sun Cruiser Vodka Iced Tea, made with real iced tea and real vodka. It's refreshingly smooth and easy to drink. Crack open a Sun Cruiser and let the good times cruise. The title sponsor of Bronco Nation News is Lithia Ford of Boise. Check out our full inventory of vehicles online at lithiafordboise.com. Lithia Ford of Boise, where Ford begins in Idaho. Did your team just get a big win? Suffer a bad loss? Come discuss it with us. Send us a comment or question in the ICCU YouTube chat, or leave us a voicemail at speakpipe.com/BNN. Now let's go to the Sun Cruiser Studios and join Tom Moser for another night in the Mountain West on Bronco Nation News.
What's up, everybody? You are in the Sun Cruiser Studios, and I am your host, Tom Moser, here on another night in the Mountain West, earlier night than we're used to here, wherever you are, East Coast, Mountain, Pacific, doesn't matter. We're on a little bit earlier. It's okay. Still a full day of hoops. A lot to talk about here. 5 games. Touch on a little bit of last night's game a little bit. Certainly stuff on and off the court to discuss here on another night in the Mountain West. Let's get some of the formalities out of the way. The old Sun Cruiser. We're in the studio, so it's a good time for a Sun Cruiser. BJ said, why don't you pop one open? So I did a little bit earlier. Maybe I'll take a few sips as we kind of dig in deeper a little bit here. So Sun Cruiser along for the show. Also, don't forget to subscribe, please, at Mountain West BNN. Subscribe, please. All right, watch through the YouTube, watch however, but please subscribe to the channel. All right, it helps us out. It's been growing, hoping for more. That's what we're here for. Okay, it's been going well, as I said, and let's continue to keep it rolling. Also, hoping to have Vance Wahlberg join us. See if he pops in the studio a little bit later. His Bulldogs' second big win of the week, probably the third, and that's no slight on Fresno, but the third biggest game of the day. We had headliners to bookend the day, right? A banger to start and a top-notch game to finish, and they delivered. And, you know, stuck in the middle there was Fresno, just humming along, taking care of business. So we're hoping to get Coach Wahlberg as he joined us a week and a half ago. So try to get him again. Hopefully we'll have some comments in here. And like I said, plenty of stuff to talk about throughout the day, last night, off the court, all of that stuff. So as is usually the case, I will go in reverse order. All right. I know people want to talk about the early game, and we'll spend plenty of time on that. But we're going to start with the late game, which was a real Malak smasher, as Vital used to say, a white knuckler, right down to the wire. And I mean, listen, let's just say this. You watched the last 10 minutes of the first half, and I thought, well, the Aztecs just kind of, they asserted their dominance. They're more physical. Not that the game plan of New Mexico was bad, and I don't really want to say they got rattled, but they were certainly out of character the last 8 to 10 minutes of the first half. They were stuck on 28 for what seemed like 20 minutes, and San Diego State kind of stretched it out. 13-point lead at the half, got to 15 to start the second half, and you're like, okay, it's the Aztecs at home. This is what was going to happen, but it's just what I've talked about with New Mexico, right? They just believe that they're going to win. They believe that they're going to win no matter who they're playing, where they're playing, what the circumstances are. It does not matter to them. They believe that they're going to win. And I equate that kind of a little bit, in fact, to the way that the Aggies were. Utah State 2 years ago with Sprinkle, right? When Sprinkle was there for his lone year and they took the league by storm and won the conference. They just felt like they were going to win. They found different ways to win. And same thing with Olin and his crew. They think they're going to win every game they play. Doesn't matter, right? And they just chip away. They chip away. They chip away. If you ever watched the movie Rounders, Teddy KGB gets pissed because Matt Damon's character just says he's hanging it around. The Lobo, they just hang around. They hang around. Before you know it, it's a tie game. They got the lead. And I mean, look, Bouillon played his tail off. I'll put the stats on there in a minute. He made a boneheaded play. I don't know if he thought, granted, Heidi shoots 50% from the line or whatever it is, right? But I can't see that being an instruction coming from Olin up to foul and put Heidi on the line. I know it was a 1-and-1. And look, before he stepped to the line, I would have put the odds at less than 50% that he would make both. Okay. But he did. And as a result, it changed the whole game. And then BJ Davis makes a really tough shot. And then the Aztecs get a stop at the other end. And that was ball game. So very good ball game. You could see why those two teams are at the top of the conference along with Utah State. There's very little separation now to me between those three teams. Okay. I know people will give me crap for this. I still think Utah State might be slightly better, but look, the Aztecs are in first place by themselves. Okay. And they just beat a very, very good basketball team today. And it went to the wire in Viejas. I'm sure Lobo fans will say we'll get them in the pit, and they very well might. Okay. Jordan, I know, Jordan, you're watching Lady Broncos and the Aggies. I understand. Well, luckily we can multitask, because BJ told me he was watching like 3 screens. I saw his setup. He's watching football. He's watching basketball. He's got all kind of stuff. Yes, Steve, UNM was rattled a little bit. And look, they're not the first team to be rattled in Viejas, and they certainly won't be the last team to be rattled there. There's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, Mike, Aztecs certainly got it done. Good win. Very good win. Okay. Any time, and you beat this New Mexico team this year. Very, very good. Freshman mistakes when it mattered. Yeah, I mean, even right at the end there with Tanette stepping over the line. I mean, look, they were down 4. It really didn't matter. But yeah, look, it's not easy to go on the road and play as a freshman in an environment like that. All right. Crazy game. Very good game. Well played game. I'll put the stats up there in a minute. Yeah, too big of a hole. Hall was smothered and exhausted. And look, I said on here, I guess it was Tuesday when they played, I gave a mea culpa, said I didn't think he'd be able to be as effective as he has been in conference play when teams and coaches and staffs plan for him, and he still was able to get it done. You saw tonight a little bit against good athletic defenders that it's not as easy. Okay. He's a very talented player. He knows how to play, but man, it's going to wear on you when Dutcher can just rotate defenders on you and you're one guy. It's like, man, you're in trouble. Trone says, huge Aztec win. Wish they performed better in second half, but they're scrappy when it counts and leave it a W. Yeah. I mean, look, I don't attribute, I get what you're saying, Trone. I've been critical of them too with their second half several times. And look, they weren't perfect tonight in the second half, but you got to give the Lobos credit. They just do what they do. They are a coach's dream because coaches preach like next play. It's a 40-minute game, right? It is a 40-minute game, but it's hard to think about that when you're down 9, right? You want to shoot a 3, you want to cut it to 6, you want to go for the steal and make up 5 points in 40 seconds. But they just chip away. They chip away one possession at a time, 1 4-minute media timeout segment at a time until before you know it, it's down to 8, it's down to 4, suddenly it's tied. And that's just, it's beautiful to get inside their psyche. And whether that comes from, obviously a lot of it comes from Olin for sure, but beautiful. Ice Baby, I appreciate that. Great content. Enjoy your streams and videos. Appreciate that. Thank you for being here. The length and speed bothered him. There's no doubt about it. And I mean, this is what we thought we would get in the preseason from this team. Now, of course, the one element that's missing tonight, and we've seen it a couple games in a row where the big guy, where Guath has kind of not been at 100%. And so I think he played 10 minutes at last look. Yeah, clutch free throws from Heidi. I mean, man alive. I was generous when I said 50%. And yes, I didn't mention him yet. I sent that tweet out. Davis had the biggest shot of the game. Like he was off balance. It wasn't a good angle. He was leaning. Like, I don't know how he made that shot. Huge shot, but Bird made the big plays. A block on Bouillon. Now, ultimately, it didn't matter because he got the steal on the next possession anyway in the dunk, but a huge block, other big plays, the steal to protect the lead. So he definitely made the plays tonight that we've been expecting. I mean, has he been sandbagging all year, just saving it for the big moments? I mean, if you want to tell yourself that, for sure. Absolutely, right? I mean, Mike, there's no shame in me saying, like, I still think Utah State might be better. I mean, on a neutral floor, do I think Utah State's going to sweep San Jose State? No way. Like, I don't expect them to go into Viejas and win. I mean, I could see a game just like tonight. But look, I mean, San Jose State's not going to go 20-0 in the league, right? Utah State fans started talking about that a week ago, and they walked out of Phoenix with a loss today, okay? Yeah, I agree with that, Craig. The percentage of Aztec fans feeling great when Heidi was on the line was probably not super high, okay? I mean, that's impressive. Like, you unless you've been in that situation, you have no idea. And it can talk all you want. I can talk all you want. Coaches, fans, whatever. It's just practice your free throw. It's the same shot every time. Whatever. Forget that. You're down 2. The place is rocking. It's on I mean, forget it. I mean, that's incredible. Like, to do that that's difficult for a good free throw shooter in that position. 1-and-1s. They're a mental mind game. How many good shooters do you see miss front ends of 1-and-1s? It happens all the time. And Heidi wasn't even close to missing on those 2. Okay. Another Lobo run, proud of the grit. Yeah, you should be, okay? Because I mean, this was an engaged San Diego State team today, and they brought it. I mean, obviously they didn't have Guath or the full bore, but I mean, they still have guys that they can play. Let me just put these on here for a minute. I haven't even fully absorbed them yet because I was trying to get ready here after the game. If we look at the team stats, the Lobos they both shoot 40%. And it's funny, I remember specifically that one of the comments the other night on Tuesday or Wednesday, these are defensive oriented teams. They just are, okay? And the Aztecs defense has been better. Olin better at defense to me. And someone said this game should be in the 60s. And I said, yeah, probably. And then we get an 83-79 final. It's just the way that basketball works sometimes. But, I mean, I think that speaks to the possessions. There were a lot of possessions. You had a lot of fouls. We took 51 free throws combined. And the game wasn't poorly officiated, like one that we'll talk about later. There were 51 free throws. It was a physical game. There were a lot of possessions. Both teams shot it poorly. I'm sorry. I was looking at the 3-point percentage, 40, 41, 43. Aztecs actually shot at 49%. That's pretty good. The turnovers were up there, 17 and 16. That's actually a few more than you like to see. But, I mean, look, individually, balance, Bird with 21 and 8. What else do we want to point out here on the stat sheet? Dixon Waters with 10 and 9. 9 boards for him is pretty impressive. Compton and DeGorville off the bench, both with double figures, very good. The shorter bench for New Mexico, but look, that's just what they are right now. You'll take the minutes that you're getting from your guys. Bouillon with 20 and 14. Hall, I didn't think he played great, but he's still 5 for 10. I mean, you'll take that. 3 for 7. That's 42%. You'll take that from the 3, 15 points, 5 assists for Hall. So he did dish the ball off when he was getting hounded. He played everybody good minutes. Miller, 1 for 9, that leaves a mark. 18 minutes for Miller, 1 for 9. That's kind of, that's what you're going to expect. Tenet, 1 for 6. So the guards off the bench, 2 for 15. That's not really going to get it done. Rock did not have the impact tonight. But look, I mean, it's difficult to go into an environment like this and play as role players. It just is, okay? And so you need your guys to carry you. Bouillon did, but the bottom line is, and I thought that too. Well, helped Lewis. Did Haupt foul out, or was he still? I think Haupt had fouled out, but I did find it interesting that he did have Tenet on the floor down the stretch and not Albury. Maybe he likes the shooting. Maybe he likes the decision making. Let's face it, Albury is better when he can get up and go and go and go, and it's a full court game. In the late stages of games like this, when they become half court slogs, that's not really Albury's strength. Now, doesn't mean he can't make a play, and it's a nice fallback option, but it is something to monitor that he had Uriah Tenet, the freshman, on the floor. Okay, let's see what else can I get to here. The Lobos chip. Yeah, I thought the same thing. It's crazy how you look away, the Lobos chip away, and it's almost tied. Yeah, they stay the course. That's a testament to just staying mentally tough. Not everybody can do that, right? Teams try to make it all up at once, and it doesn't work like that, right? Nicholas says that Albury should have been in for Tenet. I mean, look, obviously Albury by the numbers had a better night today. John says, I knew Bird would come up huge against UNM just for karma purposes because you talk too much crap about him all year. Look, the fact is, John, he had not played up to standards. Everybody knows that. I think even Aztec fan should be able to admit that. They've been critical. I've seen it on here on social media. He has not lived up to it now. He's trended up lately. This wasn't just out of nowhere. He has trended up lately. But by far, I thought his most complete game of the year tonight. And I mean, I'm sure it's no coincidence. He probably doesn't like New Mexico any more than New Mexico fans like San Diego State. So I didn't look ahead that far. I knew that okay, so San Diego State is in Phoenix to take on Grand Canyon on Wednesday. Man, we'll talk about that one in a little bit, but certainly interesting right there. And I agree, Steve. Any of the 3 top teams will be hard-pressed to sweep any of them. It's not going to be easy to get these road wins against the top teams like this. There just is. And yes, Adam, you're correct. 16 turnovers is too many. Freshman taking a last shot. I mean, that's just how they kind of roll, though. That's how they roll. I don't know who's making excuses, Mike. I don't know who's making excuses. I haven't seen anybody making excuses. The Lobo fans they're proud of their effort. There's no doubt about it. They should be. They're right in there, and they played one of the top teams, one of the top, if not the top team in the league, and almost came away with a W. So, they have 2 losses on the season now in conference play. So they're a game behind the Aggies. They're 2 games behind the Aztecs. I guess they have the 2 teams that beat them, Boise and San Diego State, at home to come. The problem is, with Boise being down in the standings, like you would maybe, I don't know, San Diego State, Utah State already won in Boise. San Diego State beat them at home, but you would favor them when they go to Boise. So that's kind of has the Lobos at a disadvantage here, the fact that they lost at Boise. They have a couple good wins for sure, but they're already 0-1 against the other 2 top teams right now. And I don't mean to discount Nevada, Grand Canyon, because they seem to have separated themselves, those 2, in the 4 and 5 slots right now. And I'm not, they're not like out of the mix at all. Just from what I've seen from a talent and consistent perspective, I would expect those 3 teams to be at the top. So, I mean, listen, the Aztecs have to be happy with where they are. 7-0 in conference play. I don't know that I would have forecasted that 3 or 4 weeks ago. So they certainly will take that and run. But big game coming up on Wednesday then, as we know what they're going to expect when they walk into that environment. We'll talk about that in a little bit. So, I guess that's about it on that one. Maybe I'll circle back to some comments later. If we get any other Lobo fans in here, I'd like to hear what some of their thoughts were. I'm pretty sure I know what the narrative is going to be. Look, they played hard. They dug themselves a hole. It's a tough place to win. You're going up against a good opponent who is ready to play tonight. and you got a good effort from them, and you still had a chance to win late. So you're probably happy about that. Like Olin's not preaching moral victories, I know, because he expects to win, and they damn near almost did. So, no shame in falling just short like that. Good effort, good win. Andrew, yes. Huge win for the Aztecs, 100%. Okay. And you know what? Haven't really talked about it lately. This is a game that, I know we joke about some of the major networks here and their bracketologists, whether it's Fox or CBS or ESPN. And I haven't really dug in too much to the social media bracketologists, who in theory I trust more than those guys. But before tonight, they had New Mexico on the last 4 in, and I don't think San Diego State was in there. So we'll see how that shifts here. It's going to be a good win for the Aztecs in the metrics. Not a bad loss for New Mexico, just a missed opportunity. But this is what will help San Diego State. And look, they're 7-0. I mean, if they ultimately run off and finish 17-3, I would think they'll get in, unless like one of those losses is to one or two of those losses a Patsy. Yeah, absolutely, Nicholas. This loss is not going to kill you. It's a quad 1 loss. Absolutely not going to hurt you at all. Shout out Derek. Derek's perfect. I did not look at that yet. Wow. Okay. I figured not many people were, because not many people picked Grand Canyon, and not many people picked Fresno. Probably a lot of people picked Wyoming. San Diego State was easy to get to, and so was UNLV. But yeah, it's not easy to do that. As I said, 47 people in the midweek made picks on all 6 games, and not a single person got them all right. And when I did it last weekend, or maybe it was a week and a half ago, I had 97 people pick. That was when there was a really good card and tough games, and 5 people got it right, which was impressive. And I should have shouted them out, but I don't have the list of who it was. But 5 out of 97, that's not a lot. So shout out Derek, no doubt, if you got all 4 right today, because that's pretty difficult. It's not easy, because there's an upset. You pick the right one. Do you only pick one upset? It's not easy. And that's why I like to do it. I like to see who can do it and challenge you. And some people think it's easy, and then they get frustrated, and I just laugh, because it's not easy at all. So, look, great basketball game. CBS picked the right game to have on in that time slot. Great atmosphere, great basketball, 2 well-coached teams, 2 talented teams. Let's just, have those teams keep winning right there. Okay, Lobo fan here, proud of the effort. Gives more confidence after the unknowns to start the season. Take a 4-point loss in Viejas any day. Great game. Absolutely, I agree. Good thoughts. Okay, quad 1 win for the Aztecs. I don't know if it will stay that way. We'll have to see. I don't check on the net every day. It could be, Mike. It also could fall to a quad 2 because they're at home, and I think it's only 1 through top 30 get you a home win. If you win at home, I think you have to be top 30 to make it a quad 1 win. So it'll probably be a quad 2 win. I could be wrong on that, and I don't think the Lobos are top 30. I'll have to double check that, but I usually do that after the weekend's over. So, okay, let's move on, because we got plenty of other stuff to talk about. The other night game, if you will, these were night for me, not night for you guys out there. But very good, very competitive game between 2 even teams. And that was Wyoming at the Save Mart Center to take on Fresno. And I'm hoping in a few minutes that we're going to get Coach Wahlberg in here, because Fresno's playing very good basketball. And, I talked to him. We had him on. He was our second guest, I guess. We had Noodles on a couple weeks ago. Wahlberg was our first head coach to come on. He said then, I think that this team is going to keep improving. Now, maybe every coach says that, right? Yeah, Spencer, it is a nice change to have an early night tonight. BJ joked about that like a week or 2 ago when we saw the schedule here. It certainly is nice. But, Vance said, I think this team's going to keep getting better. And he was right. They had a very good week here. And, I mean, look, are they a contender to get a top 4 seed in a bye? Probably not. But they're sitting at 9-9 right now and 3-4 in the conference. And they beat Colorado State and Wyoming. Now, did they beat 2 of the, top 2 or 3 teams? They didn't. And when they played San Diego State last week, it didn't go very well, but they didn't have Collins in that game, and that pretty much signaled the white flag early on. So look, it's a team that they are not a pushover like they have been the last few years, 100%. And as a matter of fact, let me see here. I'm going to get Coach Wahlberg after we play a 30-second ad from Circa. We're going to hear from Coach Wahlberg.
Get ready for the time of your life at Circa Resort and Casino, Las Vegas's newest destination for fun, featuring the world's biggest poolside tailgate party with 3 levels of action, 6 pools, and a 143-foot screen. The fun is always on deck with all the games all year long. Stadium Swim, located in downtown Las Vegas on Fremont Street. Book the time of your life today at circalasvegas.com.
All right, we're back on another night in the Mountain West, and I'm happy and pleased to be joined by jubilant Fresno State head coach Vance Wahlberg as his Bulldogs got a second really top-notch win this week, 63-60, in a hard-fought game against Wyoming. Coach, what are your thoughts? First, let's just touch on tonight. What a ball game. Nip and tuck the whole way. I think the whole second half was played within like a 6-point window. You guys just made enough plays to get it done. What are your top-of-mind thoughts on tonight's victory?
You're exactly right. It was back, forth. I just felt defensively, both teams were really strong. We didn't shoot the ball very well. We didn't help ourselves at the free throw line tonight. I think we ended up missing 9 free throws, but I thought defensively we did a really good job. We kept ourselves in the game with our defense, but it surely wasn't our offense tonight.
Well, it's funny. You guys were stuck in the 30s until there was less than 10 minutes to go. But then all of a sudden, for the entire game, I just got the feeling everybody was struggling for buckets, as you said. But then there was like a 6-minute stretch where you guys were just you matched scores, and it was almost as if I didn't have confidence in anybody getting a stop. But you got some like live ball turnovers that led to some easy buckets. Those are huge in a game where the score's in the 40s and 50s. So your defense has really picked it up. Speak to what you guys have done to improve that end of the floor.
Well, I think the biggest thing is that we got guys that are buying into it, and I think that really, really helps. The one thing that I think that we've been, like you said, I think in that when we made that change, when we made that turn, is when we had those back-to-back live ball turnovers. We got a breakaway layup, and we got 2 free throws on that same thing. But again, having somebody like Wilson Jocks inside, who's 7 foot, takes up a lot of room. He really does do a great job of anchoring our defense. And then I think tonight what was special is DJ Stickman, I thought, came off the bench and gave us a really good defensive lift.
Yeah, absolutely. And Coach, look, you're our first repeat guest here on another night in the Mountain West, so you must be doing something right. And a huge week for you guys. Look, you just beat 2 teams in the top 100 in the metrics, Ken Pom and Net, in Colorado State and Wyoming. You're 3-4 in the league. 2 league wins last year. You've already surpassed that this year. You're sitting at 9-9. What's the feeling like in the locker room there? How are your guys feeling right now? You're playing really good basketball.
No, the kids are. They're doing a great job. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I'm just disappointed that we gave away that Nevada game. There's 5 games this year that we know we should have won. We could have won. But again, it's just nice. I just felt that if we got 1 or 2 wins, I really felt that we can get. They would believe in what we're saying, what we're doing, and they've done that.
Yeah, well, you said when you were on a week and a half ago, you said you really believe your team's getting better. I've seen it. We talked about the defense earlier. You don't even, as you said, Jake, he had made 50 free throws in a row. He missed a free throw tonight. You got some other misses, and you guys made every free throw the other night. You didn't even get a made 3-pointer tonight from Jake. So if I would have told you ahead of time you get no made threes from Jake, you might think you had a hard time winning this game. So you're finding different ways to win games. Now the next test is, can you get a win on the road against a good team? You travel to the Pit on Wednesday. You know that won't be easy. What are your thoughts headed down to Albuquerque?
Well, I think it's gonna be a great test for us. I'm just hoping, Zion went out with a leg injury at the end of the game. I'm just hoping that we can have him. If we don't, obviously it's gonna be a little bit tough, as we found out down at San Diego State last week. So we'll just wait and see what happens. But honestly, if we have all the pieces there, I expect us to have a hard-fought game there.
Yeah, for sure. I'd be confident, too, with your group right now. Well, Coach, I appreciate the time. Really proud of the group. You should be. A great week right now for your Bulldogs, 3-4 in the conference, as I said. A lot of basketball to play, but certainly exceeding expectations at this point. Thanks for your time, Coach. We'll be back to break this game down a little bit more in a second. But first, 15 more seconds from our sponsor. Thanks, Coach.
Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.
Find your sun with Sun Cruiser Vodka Iced Tea. Made with real iced tea and real vodka. Cold, refreshing, and made for moments like these all year long. Let the good times cruise with Sun Cruiser.
All right. So you heard Coach, couple of interesting things in there. I did not even catch the fact that Collins went out. I had both games going because the New Mexico game was at the end of the first half. I had the volume on that game, so I did not have the volume on the Mountain West feed of Fresno and Wyoming. So I did not even know that Collins went out. And he basically echoed what I said 3 minutes ago. They were in real trouble down in Viejas when Collins didn't play. So if Collins is out on Wednesday, when they go down there to the pit to play, they're obviously up against it. He's in the lineup, totally different ball game. Okay. Now, do I want to bet against the Lobos at this point? Of course not. But, Collins in the lineup versus Collins out of the lineup is a big deal. But look, good for Vance Wahlberg and his crew, right? Not a very good opening campaign last year, 6-26, some off-court stuff going on. And I mean, this year, 9-9, he's getting greedy now, Coach Wahlberg. He wants that Nevada game back that they kind of gave away. He's referenced that a couple times. There were obviously some non-con games that they gave away. So they're sitting at 9-9. They could really be 12-6 and fighting for a postseason spot. Any postseason spot, even if it's the CBI or the Crown or whatever it is, would be welcome for Fresno. As I mentioned a few minutes ago before I brought Coach on, season high in attendance tonight. So they're starting to identify. I like the way this team plays basketball. If you're Wyoming, quickly on this, because I want to get to some of the other stuff, man. I've questioned several times. I've talked about on here how they jack the three and they jack the three and they jack the three. And, it's funny. I figured out in the first half tonight why they don't necessarily why they do that. And that's because they don't finish inside at a high clip either. I can't tell you how many bunnies and shots in the paint they missed in the first half. Now for the game, 5 for 19 from the three. Fresno, not much better, 3 for 18. So those two teams shot 26 and 17% respectively from the floor. So it was a struggle offensively. 14 turnovers for Wyoming in a slowdown game is not going to cut it. The boards were pretty even. I thought the Cowboys did a nice job on the boards. They just didn't make enough shots, and they couldn't get stops when it counted. Like I said, the game was no offensive flow for 30 minutes, and then all of a sudden, they just kept exchanging buckets, and Wyoming just couldn't piece anything together. Fresno made the plays down a stretch. Again, I think these two teams are really even, and I think that Fresno made one more play, and that's a credit to them. They believe, and they got to win. So 2 in a row for them, 3 league wins, and they'll have a chance for some more. Obviously, they're going to be up against it on Wednesday in the pit. Collins or not, but they're going to have some other opportunities moving forward. And, the way that they're playing, they'll play with confidence no matter who they play and where they play. So good job by them. Disappointing if you're Sundance. I'm pretty sure he would have expected this. They were favored in the game. This was a game that he was going to expect to win, and that's got to be a little disappointing. I'm sure they'll expect to get him at home, but this is a game that you would have expected to get if you're Sundance and his crew. So let's back it up a little bit earlier and I'm only going to spend a minute on this game. Really, is the game in San Jose. Tim Miles' crew. I honestly don't know what he's doing with his guy. I'm sure it's not him. I say that in jest. As you look at the box score, he played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 guys total. One of the guys played 12 minutes and 3 points was basically nothing. So he's playing 3 guys. So the same 4 guys, including his leading scorers, Garland, Washington, Maundi, Hanna, those are 4 of his best, probably 6 players, along with Bell, who had a nice day today. I guess Myers and Naganga. I mean, I don't know if they're having like Ninja Warrior practice in during the middle of the week. I really don't know what they're doing. That these guys are constantly out for them. It seems like an epidemic for Miles and his teams here at San Jose. It's disappointing, but I mean, they have no chance in these games. Okay, this is a home game against a UNLV team that we've seen struggles to be consistent and play consistent basketball. And you don't even have a chance from the tip because you have 6 guys in uniform. It's just disappointing. I can't begin to think about how frustrated Tim Miles might be. UNLV, what did they get? Fleming today with 21. Okay, they shot 11 for 23 from the three. That's not really UNLV's game, so that kind of hurts if you're the Spartans, because you don't expect the Rebels to do that. They shot 54% from the field, 48% from three. Some of that probably is a knock against the Spartans defense when they don't really have the horses to do it. And he got two guys playing 40 minutes and a third guy playing 36 minutes. So Godarzi, a guy who wasn't even in the top 8 at the start of the season, is playing 40 minutes. Like, you just can't compete in this league when that's what you have. No offense to Godarzi. He played well the other night. He can make a shot. He's not a guy that should be playing 40 minutes in this conference. He's not. Okay. And as a result, you're allowing your opponent to shoot 54%. So it's difficult. I wish that he had guys that could play through injury or come back earlier. I mean, these guys were questionable a week and a half ago and they're still out. So I really don't know what's going on. But look, that's 2 wins in a row for the Rebels, and I believe they have 4 conference wins. I believe they're 4-2 in the conference. Now, if you would look at, and I will do it in a couple of days when it's on, but if you would look at the odds to win the conference, and UNLV would probably be like the 9th choice right now, even though they're 4-2 and probably in like 4th place, because their wins, the Boise win in theory is against a good team. In the standings, it's not, but their other wins are against San Jose and Fresno and Air Force. So don't be fooled by that. I mean, look, they're winning games, but do I expect that to continue? I'm sure not. Okay. Yes, Steve, I agree. Congrats to Fresno. I thought it was a game. A lot of people thought Wyoming would get that game. So, look, good effort by UNLV. I feel bad for Miles, as I've said it before. I'm going to spend 30 seconds on this game, and then we'll talk about the big news, of course, in hoops today. Even making national hoops news, Nevada 81-66. I mean, look, the Air Force, okay, and I've said this on this show several times, the fact that they can't beat you this year the way they have in the past by shooting the three. Look at what they did tonight. They shot 14 for 32. That's 44%. Now, Nevada did shoot 53%, but they only took 15 and made 8. The Falcons made 14 threes, shot 44% from deep. Their percentage on the season was 29 going into today, same as UNLV, and UNLV shot 48%. So, UNLV and Air Force must have had the same pregame meal for lunch, but Air Force shoots 14 for 32 from 3, and they still lose by 15 at home. I mean, that's all that really needs to be said. Good for Nevada for taking care of business. They did what they needed to do. No slip up after the loss to Utah State, where they played really well. Just a difficult ask to get a road win at that place. Could have been easy for them to go through the motions here. They did not do it. They took care of business. Andrew asks, what's the latest on Joe Scott? So I'll talk about this for a minute, because again, it made big news. It's everywhere. You don't see this happen very often during the season, that a coach gets placed on administrative leave. Now, I don't know the details about what happened. I'm not digging into any gossip or any of that stuff. I would just say what I think or believe or whatever. And I've said it on here before. Everybody knows it. Whoever's in charge, Joe Scott, it happens to be right now, they're up against it like never before. Okay. And I can't begin to tell you how frustrating it may be to show up and lose and know you're going to lose by 20 every night. Okay. Like, and I remember people from back in September or October, whenever media days were, just some comments based on his answers or demeanor or whatever it was at the media days. He knows what the deal is. He's not kidding himself. This isn't the Mountain West that he coached in 20 plus years ago when he won the tournament and went to the NCAA tournament. Okay. It's not even close. If the league is way better and the rules are stacked against his team like never before. So it's a double whammy. All right. His team, I think, is in the 340s in KenPom. 340s in KenPom. Okay. It has to be. I don't study all those things. It has to be the lowest that a Mountain West team has been in. I don't ever. Okay. Like, that means you're better than 20 teams in the country. And that includes like all of those teams from those awful, awful conferences like the Southland, the SWAC, the MEAC, the Ohio Valley. There's some bad conferences in the South, in the Mid-Atlantic regions. There's some bad conferences and bad teams. And Air Force is we know what they are, okay, and the reasons why. It's not their fault, but imagine a toll that takes on you, okay? So of course, no excuse for anything that may have happened that is illegal. Obviously, it's under investigation, so I'm not going to talk about it, but it's not a good thing when you're on administrative leave, okay? So will we see Joe Scott back? I would probably bet against it. I don't know. If he's not, no idea who would want to take that job. I'm sure there's a former cadet that would, but man, that's a death trap. I mean, I don't know what you can hope to do there, right? It's unfair. It really is. So, I'm sorry that it broke this way for Joe Scott. Just difficult circumstances right there. And, I don't know that there's much else to say about that. People obviously talking about it, so had to address it. Now, went through 4 games. I'm sure some of you in here have been waiting for this game, and I'm sure some of you are not, because I do not see, not super surprised, maybe they'll watch later, that we don't have a lot of Aggie fans in here. But the big one today, the early afternoon game, 2:30 for me and 12:30 out there in the Mountain Zone, 11:30 Pacific, was the game between Utah State and Grand Canyon. Now, here's what I have to say about this, okay? I've been waiting, I guess, what is it, probably like 5-6 hours now for this. The officials cost Utah State the game. No, I'm just kidding. I just want to be like a lot of other people. Okay, they did not. In fact, okay? So were the officials good in this game? Absolutely not. Okay, absolutely not. They were poor. They did not cost Utah State the game. Okay, did not cost Utah State the game. I could talk about this for 45 minutes, all right? I understand that it's everybody's knee-jerk reaction to blame the officials when your team loses a game and there are bad calls, okay? No, there's nothing nefarious going on. Commissioner Navarez did not pay the officials to help you Grand Canyon win the game. There's nothing like that going on. Now, that might seem naive and foolish in light of the nonsense point-shaving stuff that went on in the last few days, right, with players, because it does happen. Okay, it does happen. The guys are just bad. They're incompetent. Okay, they're bad. And here's the thing: we've talked about this before. There were 145 games today. 145 games today. 144 in Division I basketball. You multiply that by 3, and I'm pretty sure that my math tells me that you need 432, is it? Maybe somebody could check me on that. 144 times 3, 432 officials. Okay. Now, and I saw Jordan had a tweet about this earlier. These guys aren't full-time. They're not full-time. Okay. Now, with the money that the NCAA makes, a corrupt organization, could they afford to make these officials full-time? Maybe not 432, but plenty of them, yes. Okay. They don't. They're not. Okay. Now, are they held accountable? Yeah, we had this discussion before a week or two ago. I don't even remember what game it was, right? They're held accountable if they're not very good, okay? The problem is on a Saturday when you need 432 officials, you're going to get some that are not up to the task, okay? They can't handle the speed of the game. They can't handle the environment, whatever it is, okay? Is it an excuse? I don't know, okay? It's the fact. It's a fact, okay? There are many that cannot. They're not up to the task. And you saw that today. They were not very good. Okay. They missed several calls. And yes, did more of them go against Utah State? Yes, they did. Okay. Yes, they did. All right. So there is one Aggie fan here. You're right, Spencer. You were at a movie during the game, hoping to get an unbiased opinion, since you will get one not from a fan board. Correct. Okay. So look, the fact is, Spencer, there were bad calls. They missed a goaltending call. That's judgment, right? And they missed it. I thought Calhoun should have challenged it. He didn't. They missed the call. They missed a basket I'm sorry. He shouldn't have challenged that one. They missed a basket interference when Shaw had to follow up for a layup. That was goal. That was basket interference. Calhoun should have challenged that one. He messed up by not challenging that. That was basket interference. So they missed that one. Okay. They missed one later on a goaltend against Utah against Grand Canyon. That gave Utah State a bucket. That was not goaltending either. They missed that one. There was something else in there they missed. The fouls, I mean, look, did they call a couple? Sure. I know then the big narrative is to start the second half, the fouls were 7-0. Okay. And they were. They were even in the first half. They called a lot in the first half. Everybody had 2 fouls. It was even in the foul department, foul shots. All that was even, right? They did start out 7-0 in the second half. Then they started to even it up. And I mean, for the game, let me look at this here. What does it say? For the game, I guess the free throws ended up a little more skewed, 33-23. So the Lobos took 10 more. Okay. And there wasn't a ton at the end with fouling. So they took a few more. I mean, look, you're at home in conference play. Okay. It is what it is. All right. Again, the guys are intimidated by the environment, and maybe they make a call or two for the home team. Happens. If you as an Aggie fan think, and I know many of the ones that say that are not in here watching, that's fine. But if you think that, if you're going to tell me it doesn't happen when you're at the Spectrum, you're lying through your teeth. Okay. You're lying through your teeth. I'll get back to that in a second. So Jer, a very good Lobo fan, says Olin's a great coach. Last minute coaching decisions were rough. Bouillon shouldn't have the ball unless he's on a low post. The Heidi foul is atrocious. Tanet shouldn't be shooting last shot. Yeah, I would agree with pretty much all of that. I mean, it's tough. Yeah, there's no doubt. Yeah, Jordan, you're correct. If any fan base should understand home cooking, and most of them get it, right? I know some fans think that no fan really wants to admit that they're on the receiving end of home cooking. They don't want to admit it, okay? But, I mean, Utah State gets their share of calls at home, okay? Grand Canyon did today. The officiating aside, Grand Canyon was the better team today. There's no way around it. All right. Let me put the stats back up. I don't want to leave them up there, but let me put them up there and look at a couple things here to point out. Okay. Utah State shot 36% from the floor. All right. That has nothing to do with the officials. Grand Canyon shot 51% from the floor. That has zero to do with the officials. Utah State shot 7 for 28, 25% from the three. Zero to do with the officials. Zero to do with the officials. Okay, zero. There was a stretch there where it was, and the margin ended up 10. Okay, the margin ended up 10, but for most of the second half, it was 5-8, and there was a stretch where they went back and forth, and back-to-back possessions. Templin misses a layup, like an easy layup. And then I think Drake Allen misses a layup. I think it was Allen. Like easy layups too. Back-to-back possessions where they missed layups. Keller missed a dunk in the first half. You didn't come out with the energy in the first half. Grand Canyon did. They did. You didn't come out ready for that environment or to match Grand Canyon's energy. You got Grand Canyon's A+ effort today. They came out with, this was the Grand Canyon that I expected to see in the preseason when I picked them third or fourth or wherever I had them, and what I thought I would see all year. Have not seen it much, largely because Brian Moore has not played well. He did today. If we look back at these, I'll put them back on there for a second because I didn't go over individual stuff yet. Moore had 20, 6 for 10 from the floor. He only took 2 threes. It's not his game. 6 for 10, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, 24 and 4. Fantastic in 36 minutes. Henley 12, Shaw 10, Demeril only 6, Owusu Anane 11 and 11. Very good. Makai Williams, you couldn't guard Makai Williams, right? That had nothing to do with the officials. You couldn't guard Makai Williams. Guy had 20 off the bench, 6 for 11, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, no turnovers. Great game from him. Now let's talk about Dennis Evans, all right? He was guilty of 1 goaltend that he got away with, but he also had, 4 or 5, at least 5 blocks and several other alterations. Okay, or deterrence, if you will. Last thing on the individuals here, Falslev. What a monster day for Falslev. 25, 8 for 21. Now he forced a couple shots late, just trying to hurt, in hurry up mode. But still 25 and 12, ridiculous. 37 minutes playing in foul trouble. Collins not his best day. 5 for 13, only 1 for 6 from deep. 12 points, 1 rebound, 1 assist. Not the best day for Collins. El Amin, 12, also played in foul trouble with 7 boards. Good game for him. Drake Allen, I thought he was better. He only had 8 points, 6 rebounds, and 1 assist. I thought he was pretty decent today. Maybe not. Keller, no points, 0 for 3. I haven't been a big Keller guy all year. He gave Anderson 12 minutes today. He didn't even take a shot. He grabbed 2 rebounds, I guess, but he's not very good defensively. He got beat for a layup a couple times. King, only 3 points, 1 for 3. Templin was okay. Clark, not sure what Calhoun saw or didn't see with Clark today. Only 5 minutes, 2 points. Was he banged up? I don't know. He did have 2 fouls in the first half. I don't know why he didn't go to him in the second half. I don't know. Chris. So I stopped here because I wanted to go over the Aggies box score quick. But Dennis Evans, let's talk about Dennis Evans for a minute. First, credit Drew for this. Okay, he has Breidenbach, the other guy with the rec specs. He didn't use Breidenbach today. Did he play at all? He used Breidenbach for 6 minutes. Okay, bagged Breidenbach, and he did the same with Stromer that Calhoun did with Clark. Stromer got couple fouls early and then 1 early in the second half. He played 6 minutes. So he bagged Stromer and he bagged Breidenbach, and he gave those minutes to Dennis Evans, 19 points. It's funny. I remember back in October when Rothstein did his tour and he stopped at Grand Canyon and he's tweeting about a couple of their guys, and he tweets about Dennis Evans. And I'm like, 7-footer transfer from Louisville. This guy, blah, blah, blah. He's going to be a stud. And he hasn't done anything yet. And then today he looks like he's freaking Kareem Abdul-Jabbar out there. Now, is he an offensive player? Of course he's not. He's not at all. But man, did he impact that game defensively? 100%. Big time. Okay. So, where's he been? I don't know. Is he a liability out there offensively? Sure. But what the heck? He changed who said, he changed the game today. He Falslev did hit a bunch of threes in the first half. He wants to drive it to the hole. Okay. And he couldn't do that because he kept getting rejected. And he's a presence in the paint. So credit Drew for pushing those buttons. Credit Drew for those buttons. Okay. I want to go back to this here. Olin told Bouillon to foul. If he did calculate a risk that did not pay off, give Bird credit for a great defensive game. Bouillon was ready to make a move in the post there. I don't agree if that's not that I don't agree with you. I don't agree with the call to foul there. Absolutely not. I don't understand that one. That was kind of bizarre. Anyway, okay. So, look, the Evans was massive today. I mean, just huge game for Evans. And look, Grand Canyon, they outplayed the Aggies. Okay. So, 2 things can be true. The officials can have a bad game, and they did. And Grand Canyon outplayed Utah State today. And those are both fact. Okay. I really don't think anybody, so, Spencer, you've seen Gary Clark struggle against longer big men. That's why he had reduced minutes today. Maybe it was a matchup thing. That could be. Totally could be a matchup thing. But, man, he works hard in there. And I'm not to say that the other guys didn't today because Templin was busting his tail. But, you need those dirty buckets and somebody to make some tough plays. I think Clark's your guy. He's similar to Templin, but a little more athletic, obviously. But I don't know. Maybe that's what it was. And look, Calhoun, listen, you're not going to run through the league undefeated, okay? They were a 5 or 6 point favorite here. I'm not stunned that they lost this game. We talked about this the other day. The schedule didn't help them out. They played Wednesday. They had a day shorter rest than the Lobos did. They had to travel. They came off a really good win and a good effort against Nevada, right? The Lobos were lying in the weeds for this one. The fans were fired up, all of that stuff, right? So I just think that, this was one that you look at the schedule and it's not a surprise, right? If we expect them to run the table or at least go 9-1 at home, you're going to drop a couple games. The league is too good, and teams like this have potential to do this. They have potential, especially if Moore plays that way. This was a guy who all the talking heads preseason thought that this guy would be a massive impact player. He was today, and you saw the result. Okay? We didn't get Utah State's A game today. And it happens sometimes in basketball. And when your opponent plays an A game and you don't, and you're on the road, it's awful tough to win. Okay, it's awful tough to win. So you have to give massive credit to the home team there. And if you're Utah State, you chalk it up to a road game. Let's see what happens with their metrics. I think somebody had a comment in there about that. I didn't put it on there, but we'll see what the metrics do tomorrow. And I don't think it should crush them. They have a good enough resume we'll have to ask the bracketologist, but 16-4 should be okay for them in the league, I guess, as long as they don't drop one to a bottom 5 team or so. But obviously they're thinking championship, and now they have a loss and the Aztecs don't. So the Aztecs are sitting on top by themselves. And then we have Utah State and New Mexico. So now that we're getting close, we're about a third of the way into league play. So we'll start to see some matchups that we haven't seen yet. So we'll start to get some of those other matchups coming up. We do have some big games this weekend, as somebody pointed out. Let me just get the schedule up here really quick as we're 54 minutes, another night in Mountain West. Thank all of you for joining me. Tom Moser. We had Vance Wahlberg on before, victorious coach of Fresno tonight for the second time. So Tuesday night, and I do want to talk about Boise last night for a minute. Boise at Wyoming Tuesday, Air Force at Colorado State Tuesday, San Jose at Nevada Tuesday, Nevada. So those two probably won't be very competitive. And then the late one, UNLV at Utah State on Tuesday. That one might not be very competitive either. And then Wednesday night, Fresno at New Mexico. And then the headliner, San Diego State at Grand Canyon. So a nice game, nice doubleheader Wednesday, and some pretty good games there overall in the midweek. But look, let me quickly then talk about the Boise game last night against CSU. We saw Buchanan come back. We saw Jorgensen come back. So certainly Buchanan wasn't out nearly as long as Jorgensen was, so it didn't take as long for him to get back into rhythm. Jorgensen, it looked in the first half like he was just kind of feeling his way out on the floor, and Buchanan had a massive impact right away. Good game. Boise got out early. The Rams made a run like they've done a couple times now. They just couldn't sustain it. But Pasquarelli, he only, I don't know why all of a sudden, credit the defense, I guess, credit Leon, but he didn't get a lot of looks yesterday. And look, Boise they played pretty well yesterday. They did. They didn't look like a 1-5 team. CSU didn't look like a 2-4 team. They don't look like 5-1 and 2-4 teams, but they look better than their records. So I think with Jorgensen back now, Bemba looked pretty good. I think Coach Farouk Manesh can get a settled rotation in there. You saw he's been trying to give minutes to McIver, the backup point guard, and he's really struggled. And then I think you finally saw him last night in the second half pull the plug on that because he really struggled in his first half minutes. And if he shortens the bench, now he's got the two bigs. Maybe he plays them together. He can go with some different lineups. He has another guy now with Jorgensen back and Bemba. They have not had them together all season. Maybe he doesn't need to go as deep into the bench where they kind of struggle a little bit. I would expect them to start playing a little bit better, okay? Because I didn't think they played poorly. And, I got a report, one of an analytical guy, they have given up, now this was before last night's game, they have given up the fewest, follow me here, because this isn't my forte, the advanced analytics. Before last night and before today's action, they had given up the fewest unguarded catch and shoots in the country. So everybody wants to rip their defense and they're not a good defensive team and this and that and this and that. They had given up the fewest unguarded catch and shoots in the country out of 365 teams. That's advanced analytics. Again, not my thing, but that's pretty impressive. I think the number was 19 all season, not just in conference play, all season. Okay. Or maybe the 19 was in conference play, but the number where they were number one in the country was for the entire season. Fewest unguarded catch and shoots, which means that they're not far out of position in help, okay? They recover, and they make you take a contested shot. Sometimes you make contested shots. Boise did last night. They haven't been a great shooting team. They made shots last night. It happens in a one-game sample size sometimes, okay? Sometimes a hot team goes cold. Utah State tonight didn't shoot the ball well from deep. Sometimes a bad shooting team gets hot. UNLV did it today. Air Force did it today. I wouldn't say Boise's a bad shooting team, but they're not a good shooting team. They got hot yesterday. Okay. But I think both of those teams should start trending up a little bit. Now, it's too late for some of the goals, right? They're not going to get it, an at-large bid. They're not going to be in contention for a league title. Probably top 4 seed is out the window, but they can improve their play and take a shot at a postseason bid or to be playing their best basketball as we get to the postseason or for the conference tournament. Okay. Okay. Let's see here. Where are we at? Well, we are at an hour. Got a lot of you guys in here. The comments have slowed down, which is fine. We did go for an hour, had a lot of good comments in here. I thought, I know it was 7 hours ago. I thought we'd have a little bit more dialogue on the Utah State game, but maybe we'll have some of that on social media later. I went over to Tuesday's schedule and Wednesday in the midweek schedule. So it looks like Boise's been kind of on that isolated schedule here, and that's why I didn't do the show last night. That's why we altered the schedule on Tuesday, because they were the late game and BJ had his show. So we're going to, it looks like it should be a 4-night week next week. All right. Boise's the early game on Tuesday, so that won't be an issue. They don't play Wednesday, so I'll be live Wednesday. Friday night is just one game, Utah State, Colorado State. I'll probably do a short show Friday night, and then Boise Saturday afternoon against Air Force. So I'll, won't have an issue there. So it looks like a 4-show week next week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. That'll be our first 4-week, 4-show week. Okay. For now, I think it's time to wrap this one up. 11:23 early here on the East Coast, 9:30 and 8:30 for you guys out there out west. I want to thank Sun Cruiser and Circa. Thank Vance Wahlberg, our host, for coming on for the second time to talk about his, I wouldn't call him red hot, but his Bulldogs are playing good basketball. And I joke with him off air that, I'm sure he'd be happy to come on every week, because it means that they're doing something right. So good job by the Bulldogs, and thanks to Vance Wahlberg for coming in. Thanks Sun Cruiser and Circa. Thank all of you for joining me here on another night in the Mountain West. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. John, a latecomer, fell asleep early, woke up and missed a show. It's all right, John. You can come back and watch it on replay. It will be uploaded in a second. Congrats to your son and the Broncos on their victory last night. Good to see him back on the floor. So thank you to all of you for being here, and make sure you're back here on Wednesday. Subscribe, link at the bottom, at Mountain West BNN. If you're not subscribed, just please click on it on your YouTube account. Click on subscribe. Just do it, at Mountain West BNN. Appreciate that. I'm Tom Moser. Thank all of you for being here. Hope you enjoyed the day of hoops, the show tonight, and we'll catch you on the next show. Good night.